Hello lovely people! Today I have another DSP. Today is Sennoupu DP-X10. So this DSP was sent to me by one of my followers. He lives locally and he bought this DSP for himself to use in his own car, but before actually installing it, he's like, do you want me to send you for some testing? So I was like, of course, yes. So today is gonna be a full review of this, so I guess the video is gonna be quite long. We're gonna do an unboxing, we're gonna have a look what's inside, then we're gonna have a look at the software, and finally I'm gonna make some measurements of distortion and everything. We're gonna see how it performs and how it compares to the other DSPs that I have. So let's open it up, let's see what we have. So this box is very bland, just white. There's nothing on it, and the only thing is here. What catches my eye straight away is it says Audio Mobile Products. So Audio Mobile is a company, I believe it's based in the US, and it's quite a good company. And the thing is, this company is designing these DSPs and is selling them under Sennoupu name, which is made in China. So see, designed in Denmark, but I think it's a US company, I'm not sure. Put in the comments if you know more about Audio Mobile, because I know that a lot of people are running their like speakers and amplifiers and everything. So designed in Denmark, made in China, and absolutely nothing else. We don't have any information. Basically from this box, I have no idea what's inside. Is it a DSP? Is it an amplifier? Nothing. So let's open it and see. So we have this. We have some protective thing. Now it comes like this. This one is very cool. So it looks like a card. Sennoupu Audio Club. And what is here is, so this card, if you remove this, it's a flash drive. And in this flash drive, you have basically everything that you need to run this DSP. So as you see, there's no paperwork, there's no manuals, nothing. The manual is in the flash drive as a PDF. There is a Android application. There is laptop software as well. And basically everything that you need is in this flash drive. So from one point of view, it's very good because it's useful. You have it, you don't have to download anything. However, if you have any kind of software updates or anything, you cannot update this. So potentially, if you buy this later and the company releases some updates, you cannot rely on what is there because you will need to download the up-to-date software from the web anyway. So it's kind of good gesture, but I don't know. Okay, so this one. Then we have the DSP unit itself. Let's take it out. Which looks like this. A warranty card if you want to use the warranty, and we have some QC. They're supposed to be attached somewhere, but they're not. Then, so this one, I believe that you can buy it in different configurations. This specific unit comes with, as a DSP, with the controller and all the cables. As I mentioned in the Nakamichi DSP, that Nakamichi doesn't come with a power cable. This one comes with a power cable. So let's have a look. We have a USB cable. It's the same printer cable that you use to connect the DSP to the laptop. And we have this plug. So this plug is quite short because the other ones are much longer, and you have exactly the same, as I mentioned in the Nakamichi, all of them use exactly the same plug and all the same pin layout. So you have like power in and out. Now this fuse is not rated. I have absolutely no idea what's the rating on it, but on the box it says 20 amps. So it's very typical for these DSPs. Yeah, this one. Then we have a mini USB cable for the controller. So let's have a look at the controller. This is a controller for the DSP. It's brand new. Does it have a film on it? it looks like it has a film, and the film is a bit scratched, but it is a film, I believe. If not, the person who bought it, you can claim a refund for this, because I can see like this. I'm not sure if it's fingerprints like here or damaged, but I just literally took it out. The controller feels very cheap, very, very plasticky. These buttons, extremely cheap. Plasticky thing. I might put it on just to see how it looks like. But yeah, cheap. Looks very, very cheap. It has a mounting hole, so this bracket goes like that. And then you have M3 sticky thingy, just to stick it to whichever panel you want. And then you have this screw, which is, funnily enough, in a Chinese newspaper. So they ran out of packing materials. And basically something like this. So this mounting has a few mounting options, but it does protrude. So you can mount it like this, or if you put it upside down. But yeah, the controller, quite big, but feels flimsy and plasticky. Yeah, let's have a look at the DSP. So it has some weight to it. Actually, I'm gonna leave this for better contrast for you to see. It has some weight. I love the brushed metal, how it looks like, how it feels like. It doesn't attract any fingerprints. The form factor is very nice. We have a very nice holographic thingy. And it says high-res audio. Guess how true it is that. Audio mobile productions, yeah, 20 amps, 12 volts, and pretty much that's it. So this is, okay, let's talk about what this actually is. This is a DSP amplifier that has 8 outputs and 4 amplified channels. So in functionality, it's almost exactly the same like the Nakamichi that I have. It's exactly the same. The only difference is that this Nakamichi has only 2 inputs, and this one has 4 inputs, analog inputs. And this one, difference from the Nakamichi is it has optical in. It has a USB, exactly the same USB, the connection to for the laptop, and this one has an optical, so it has a digital signal in. And we know how Nakamichi measured because of analog, USB, and Bluetooth, so this should measure through optical much better. Now, since I don't have any kind of manual or anything, we cannot really see how much they are lying about the power ratings and everything, but from my experience, all of these DSPs don't do more than like 15 to 20 watts of clean power anyway, because they don't have any like power transformers inside, so they cannot build rail voltage and they use the battery as their rail. One thing that pops into my eye straight away is like, it is a beautiful looking DSP, the form factor is amazing. However, how the hell do you mount this thing? There's no holes. There's nothing. It's like a floating unit. Like with the Nakamichi, you have these for mounting brackets. With the Alpine, you have exactly the same mounting brackets. However, with this, you have absolutely nothing. So the only way to mount it, from my perspective, is to either somehow clamp it from the top or use like Velcro or something on the bottom and just stick it to something. But like mounting wise, I don't know what they were thinking. Now the main question is, with this DSP, how does it compare to the Nakamichi and to the Alpine quality wise? Because price wise, this one is the cheapest. So as I mentioned in the very beginning, this Alpine cost about 230 to 300 pounds, British pounds. This one you can buy it on eBay for about 150 pounds, like up to 200 pounds, so much cheaper. However, this one is even cheaper than that. So I'm not sure how much the owner paid for it in pounds after tax and everything. However, in AliExpress, and probably depends on the if you have a controller and everything. I saw it for as little as £100. So it's a very, very good value for the money. Now, I cannot have a look inside because actually I can show you something, but not much. If you undo the 4 bolts from the side, which I did, you can easily remove one of the side panels. It just comes off like that. So I cannot disassemble it fully because the main thing is from this, you're not going to see much. However, it looks cool from inside. You have a QC sticker there. And this is the main chip, the amplifier chip. So this is the chip which looks like a TDA chip that has, the Alpine DSP has that TDA chip, but I'm not sure. It might be a fake one. Nakamichi has totally different chip. It's not the same. And this chip is screwed, IC is screwed to the aluminum heatsink, and that heatsink is bolted to the chassis with one bolt, which is here. I can feel that bolt, and this is the warranty sticker. So since this DSP is not mine, it goes to an actual person that's gonna install it in their system. I'm not gonna break this, and I'm not gonna take it apart. If it would be mine, I would, but I'm not gonna do that. However, online, there are pictures of this board, and I'm gonna attach it for you to see how it looks like. So it looks kind of cool. It looks much nicer than the Nakamichi board, which could indicate that it is a better quality. What we see as well, if you see this pin, there's another pin right there. And basically it prevents board flex. So it's not fixed to the board, but doesn't let the board to like sink in. I don't think it's going to be like against vibrational damage, but it is a cool little thing. The other thing that I noticed straight away is for assembly of the screws, you have actual screws. So as I mentioned in the Nakamichi, which is a cheaper version, instead of screws, you have, instead of bolts, sorry, you have actual screws that screw in the heatsink, and it potentially can have some like metal flakes and stuff. However, this one, you can feel that the quality is much higher because it's tapped, yeah, with actual bolts, exactly the same like all the Alpine. So from assembly point of view, this is a higher quality unit compared to the Nakamichi, even if it's cheaper. So now what we're going to do is we're going to jump into the software. It has an app as well. I'm going to show you the app, the laptop software, and then we're going to see some measurements, how it did and how it compared to the Nakamichi DSP. Very quickly, I would like to show you the actual controller, how it works. So I have this phone connected to the DSP via Bluetooth, and it's just playing some music. If I connect this, so I have a logo. I don't want to go that low because, yeah, we have loading and we have this. So for me personally, this is the most ugly thing that I saw. I don't know. It doesn't look very inviting. So with these buttons, probably can do different stuff, but this is from my for what I can see is like a controller for the actual music playback, which is kind of cool. So I don't know how much functionality it has because I didn't dive very deep in the manual. However, up down you can control the volume, so it goes up to 35. If you press on it, it stops whatever you're playing. So play, stop, play, stop. And these bottom buttons skip through tracks. So next, next track, next track, next track, backtrack. So basically skips back and forth and it plays and stops. So these probably can go through folders if you have music like on USB stick and stuff. It's not a touch screen. You cannot touch anything. How do you access all the other stuff? Oh, there we go. So you press and hold, and then, wow, that's slow. That's the actual refresh rate. Set color. Wow. Okay. Did I set it? Okay, I hope I set it. Background color. Let's choose. Oh, black. Oh my god, you cannot see anything. And it's like, so this is in front of like a ring light. And like, I'm looking at the daylight. You can barely see. I'm not sure if there is, oh man, I don't know if there is a actual backlight. Bright 5. Oh, this is the maximum brightness. Okay. Brightness 1. Wow, on brightness 1, you literally cannot see anything. So this might be an issue in a car if you're actually trying to see everything in daylight. Yeah, not much stuff. You can load a preset. Memory 1 to 6, so it has 6 presets by default. Set source. Wow, can you see that? High level, low level, optical, USB audio. Yeah, so this is the controller. Let's have a look at the actual software. So first of all, let's have a look at the Android app that it has. When you first open it, you have something like this. Then if I click on the Bluetooth icon, it's gonna let me choose. Then I'm gonna click DP-X10. It's linking and now it's connected. So on the main screen you have on the left side, you have the priority. So Bluetooth is the primary priority, and then all the like high level, low level if you want to use RCAs, optical, memory banks, you can save, master volume for the whole thing. You can adjust it with a slider there or here. You can enter the value if you whichever you want. Then mute the whole thing and unmute. This button in the middle that plays, it's for USB playback, but I had extreme difficulty to play anything from the USB. Now on the right side, we have profession should be professional, car, and advanced. If we want to click on profession, it doesn't do anything. What we need to do, we need to click on advanced first, and it asks for a password. So password by default, and you can see I entered password here, but the arrow appeared on the left top corner. The password by default is 888888. So 6 8s. It was the same for the Alpine. I just thought I'm gonna try it and see if it works. And if you saw, it's like enter the password and you have determine and chop out. Yeah, translation. If you enter the password, then if you click on the professional, you have all of these options. So on the left side, we have all the channels that we want to do. We can reset. Then here on the right side, we have parametric EQ, we have channel, and we have delay. So for the delay, we can enter milliseconds or centimeters, inches, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. Ooh. Then for channel, we have crossovers, high pass, low pass crossover. We can choose between link with bezel, but so it's the same like all the other ones. And channel volume, delay, yeah, flip polarity, mute the channel. On the parametric EQ, we have all of these EQ bands. So we can go from plus 12 to minus 12. And you can see like on the app is extremely finicky. If I click on the 0.4, so to change between the Q, the gain, and the frequency, you just click on the number. So that's the gain. It goes from 20 to 0.4. The gain, as I mentioned, plus 12, minus 12. And then frequency, you can choose whichever. You click, you can enter whatever you want. And this is pretty much basically it. The only gimmicky thing, so I found a gimmicky thing on the Nakamichi. This has a gimmicky thing as well. If you press on the car, it lets you to choose a car, whichever you want. So for example, Mazda 6, and loading data. So it loads, you can choose your listening position is for time alignment. So let's say I'm on ride behind driving car here, Mazda 6, loading data. And then if I go back to profession, we have for every channel, we have EQ pre-applied, and at the same time we should have delay pre-applied. Oh, you can choose this as one also similar to a head unit, but basically these EQs that are pre-applied from the actual just random cars, again, it's a gimmick. It's a total gimmick. But hey, so this is the app. I found it very buggy. If I want to do some stuff, sometimes it freezes, sometimes it loses the Bluetooth connection. It's extremely buggy. I couldn't work with it properly. And the other thing that's missing in here, if you notice as well, there's no input selection. So assigning input channels to output channels, it's nowhere to be found, nowhere to be seen. I couldn't find it anywhere. Okay, so this is the app. Let's have a look in the laptop in the software. And this is the laptop software. So it comes like almost minimized. If we make it bigger, we see something very similar that we saw in the Nakamichi and with Alpine. Very small font. One thing is like this green color. It's extremely difficult to see stuff with this color, so I don't really like it. But we have all the usual functionality. We have like crossovers here, type, frequency we can change, the slope and everything. If we want to turn it off, we have to go all the way down, then it's gonna be off. High pass, low pass, time delay, all the main gain, channel gain, everything is fine. Here, polarity, everything like normal stuff. You have parametric and graphical. So with parametric, same like in the app, we go from +12 to -12. The Q, yeah, from 20 to 0.4. We can choose the source and everything. Now, one thing, as I mentioned in the mobile app, exactly the same here, we don't have any kind of input assignments, so we cannot, at least I don't see how can I assign input to specific output channel. I guess like channel 1 is like one left, right, left, right, left, right, maybe, but it has 4 inputs analog. So where do you assign stuff? I have absolutely no idea. It's like there's nothing there. You can link left and right, but software is exactly the same like on others. Nothing. We have the same noise gate threshold, whatever that is. Yeah, small numbers might be a bit difficult to work with, but it's fine manually. 500. So we need to press tab probably. If I press, because if I press enter, if I press tab, yeah, you need to press tab. So on the Alpine, you have to press enter if you want to jump to the next one. For this one, we need to press tab. So it is tunable. It's fine. It's just like input output doesn't exist. So at the same time, while we have here, we can have a look at the actual measurements. Now, these are the measurements that I narrowed down to just a few. In the previous that I did, it was like kind of experimental, but on this, we'll have a look at like what I decided to keep from all of those. So it's going to be mainly just 5 measurements. It's going to be distortion versus power. Then it's going to be multitone, same distortion versus power. Then distortion versus frequency, and we're going to have these just to have a look how 1 kilohertz tone and multitone does. So we have here in distortion, our thresholds are going to be 0.05%, as I mentioned in the previous video, for like consider something is good or bad-ish. If it's going to be above that, we're going to consider it to be a bit bad. If it's below, it's going to be good. And if I convert to dBr, that equates to 66 dB, which I think is going to be fine, but in percentage it's easier to see. So we see that this DSP, this is on RCA levels. I couldn't test the inbuilt amplifier because if I chose, even in the software, if I chose like low priority, low level, the inputs, nothing came out of the high level signals of the amplifier, and I don't see an option to enable, disable the amplifier and stuff. If I choose like this stuff and I probe the RCAs, they work, but if I probe the speaker wires, they don't. So I couldn't test the inbuilt amplifier. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with it. Maybe I just need to read the manual properly. As I mentioned as well, I couldn't test the USB because like it didn't play from USB. The app kept crashing and I literally couldn't play anything from the USB, so I couldn't check that one. And the optical, at the moment, I cannot check it because I don't have an optical source and an optical cable. However, I'm not sure if the owner will let me keep it for a bit, but I'm planning to have, when Adam is going to send me all the stuff, I will be able to test optical stuff as well. And it will be very interesting to see if there is an improvement in performance using optical input versus analog. So that might come later. But we see um, distortion goes down all the way up to 0.01%. Actually, let's have a look at dBr. It's going to be probably better in dBRs. So 77 dB. And the voltage that I got out of the RCAs, let me check if it's going to be correct. Yeah, it's something about 1.2 volts. So you can see like one volt is kind of okay, and then after 1 volt it steeply rises up. So output of this DSP on the RCA level is about 1 volt, which is typical for Chinese DSPs, I guess. So this was a 1 kilohertz tone. If we jump into the multi-tone distortion, I set it up in RTA here, step signed, that stop if distortion percentage exceeds 10%. So I guess because it starts to rise very sharply, we have kind of okay up to only 400 millivolts. So half the power on multitone, and then it just goes crazy. And let's have a look at the THD versus frequency. And we have about minus 75, something like that. If we convert to percent, 0.015. So it's not that bad. We have some rise at the top end at higher frequencies, but not as much. So from this, if I compare this to Nakamichi, for example, where is it? This one on Nakamichi, we have 0.3. And if you remember, Nakamichi had very bad bottom end, lower frequencies. On this one, we don't see that. It is much clearer on the lower frequencies, so it's fine. And the THD in general, it's better compared to the Nakamichi, so it does perform much better. Let's have a look at this. So this is a sine wave with the analog signals used, and for this one we have THD plus noise here minus 78 dB, which is good, quite good. We have some noise and higher frequencies, but the lower frequencies are much better compared to the Nakamichi. Now, if I choose Bluetooth and I do exactly the same, I have this, which raises the floor noise quite substantially, and at the same time, we have more noise in the bottom end, and we have here. So from 78 minus 78, we're jumping up to 48 only 48 dB only. So yeah, Bluetooth is not the best. And exactly the same we have with the multitone, which is this one. We have problems at the bottom and below like 100 hertz. We have this mess, but at the top end is quite good, below like 80. And if we have a look at THD, is 67. So it's still, if we said like 66 is our threshold, it's kind of on the threshold. It's kind of not bad. But Bluetooth, it's horrible, horrible Bluetooth. So my final thoughts on this DP-X10 DSP. For the price, it's good. It is better than the Nakamichi that I recently reviewed, and it is cheaper, so it is a good buy. The drawbacks to this is, as I mentioned, the mounting. I have no idea how to mount it, and even if it has that included controller, that controller looks very bad quality, and the visuals are actually very, very bad. But considering that Nakamichi doesn't have a controller and this one has a controller included, that's kind of a plus and a bonus. So goodbye, yes, goodbye. Better performance, not great, but better performance compared to the Nakamichi. As a beginner DSP, again, I would recommend to buy it. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.